Now begins episode 4, Turnabout Storyteller.
Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What time is it? It's 9, 10, 11.
Shisho's dead? No! Do you think he did it? Oh no! If he did, then what do we do? Hey, pull yourself together. Don't worry. I have an idea. May 13th, 9:45 a.m. District Court. Defendant Lobby. Number 6. What the heck? Who brings a defendant to his own trial late? Plus, the request was so last minute, I didn't even have a chance to talk with my client. He's late for a very important date. My name is Athena Cykes. Armed with analytical psychology and a full arsenal of legal know-how, I'm a fully competent defender of the Wright Anything Agency. Though I wish my client would show up already. The trial's about to start. It appears we made it just in time. Where have you been? The trial's about to start, Simon. You needn't get so worked up, Athena. His baldness can wait. There's no way he'd wait for me. And besides, why would I want to start off on the wrong foot with him right out of the gate? Dealing with such matters is part of being a lawyer, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, well, covering for your lateness is not. Still but a rank amateur, I see. This is Simon Blackquill. He might not look it, but he's actually a prosecutor and a psychology specialist. He and I go way back. As for our shared specialization in psychology, we're both disciples of the same person, so to speak. But he's kinda my senior, I guess. But twisted sense or humor or no, I wish he'd stop treating me like a child all the time. So, where are Wright Dunno and Justice Dunno? Mr. Wright is abroad, and Apollo is helping Trucy with her magic show. Didn't I tell you? They're what? So neither one of them are here? Leaving you to take this on alone? Yup. Ye gods. Call Wright Dunno back. It's not too late. Oh no, not too late at all. He would only need to know how to teleport. Very well. Then I will settle for Justice Dunno. Go grab him by the horns and drag him here. Apollo is literally in the middle of a show, Simon. You may not want to admit it, but I've got what it takes to take on this case. Just leave this to me and go watch from the gallery. Has your defense derails in spectacular fashion? No, as I win the heck out of this trial. I'll be okay. Promise. So wipe that look off your face already, will ya? Anyway, I take it the guy behind you is... Yes, he's your... He's asleep again. Hoy, Bucky, wake up! Yeah! Ow! What'd you do that for, Simon? Who's this yellow chickadee? She's your lawyer, such as it were. I'd say she's more green than yellow, however. Lawyer? She sure doesn't look like it, does she? Is she like your fellow apprentice or something? Something like that. I've known her longer than I've known you. You could say we're bound to one another. Oh, okay. Well then, guess I better call her Ms. Chickadee then. Simon, this guy's not only rude, but he's 3 sheets to the wind in his own trial. I know we just met, but I'm about ready to give him a piece of my mind.
Do as you will. Just save it for after the trial.
Miss Chickadee? Don't call me that. How'd you do? Simon me here is an old friend of mine. I'm the 4th generation head chef of Wet Soba. Wet noodle number 4, Bucky Wet. Nice to meet you. It's nice to meet you too, Mr. Wet. So he can pull himself together when he wants to. Grr, if only the trial wasn't starting in a few minutes.
Having been accused of a murder that only occurred yesterday, I'm afraid it's taken a toll on the poor boy.
And you happened to be there at the theater where it all happened too, right? They said they found a Rakugo storyteller murdered in his dressing room.
Indeed. The victim, Master Storyteller, Geiru Toneido, was a longtime patron of Wet Soba. Master Toneido had been looking after Bucky ever since Wet Noodle number 3 passed away.
I see. So the victim was kind of like a father to the defendant, huh? That stupid old fart. Like a father? No way. He was always dishing my soba.
How dare you speak ill of him? Running your mouth like that is why they suspected you of his murder in the first place. Now pull yourself together. Number 3 must be rolling in his grave.
But Simon! The police! None of them believed me! They won't listen to me! Looks like he's still in shock from the whole ordeal. Don't worry, Mr. Wet. Everything's gonna be alright. I'm gonna defend you with everything I've got. You mean you believe me, ma'am? Of course! No matter what, I'll believe in you to the very end. Gee whiz, Miss Chickadee. Now come on. I need you to shape up. Just like those al dente noodles of yours. Yes, ma'am. My soba is in the fridge. Mr. Wet?
Bucky, you great big pillock.
So, how exactly do you know this guy?
I used to frequent Wet Soba, and still do in fact. So I've known him since he was a lad. That's why his father and Mr. Toneido were always so good to me.
I didn't know you liked soba so much, Simon.
I wouldn't expect one such as you who eats meat slapped between slabs of bread to understand the delicate taste and the subtle textures imparted by buckwheat flour.
Hey, that's just rude.
But I digress.
I'm all about flavor and subtlety and stuff.
If I let Wet Soba end like this, I'll never be able to face number 3 or Master Toneido in the next life.
Ah, I see. And that's why you came to me. You wanted somebody you could trust.
It was never my intention to ask you.
I'll show him. I'll show him I can handle it just fine.
Well, I believe it's just about time.
What? But we haven't even properly discussed the case yet.
What's the matter? You look nervous, Athena. Don't tell me you're chickadeeing out.
I'm just trembling with the excitement of battle. That's all. Ah, yes. Let's do this. Come on, Mr. Wet. Get up off the floor. We've got a case to win. Yes, Miss Chickadee. I'm gonna do my best.
Wet soba, wet soba, wet soba, wet soba, wet soba.
Yellow. 2 bowls of noodles? Sorry, sir, no can do. Kinda busy at the courthouse. Huh? They hung up. Okay, let's do this. He's not gonna do himself or his case any favors like this, Simon. Maybe we should let him go get some rest somewhere. Let me rest? Maybe if I were a lump of regular flour dough for udon noodles. But I'm fresh like my soba. And you don't let soba dough rest. It's all about the 3 freshes. Grind the buckwheat seeds fresh, cut the dough fresh, and boil my noodles. Not again.
He's blacked out.
Oh boy, I just knew something like this would happen. Simon, what are these 3 freshes of soba he was talking about?
First, buckwheat seeds or groats are ground to make buckwheat flour. Then dough made with this flour is cut with a large rectangular knife into noodles. And finally, the buckwheat noodles are boiled. Each step is done immediately, one after the other, so that the soba is fresh when eaten.
Oh, so that's what he meant. I wouldn't want him to make me any soba right now, though, that's for sure.
Athena, this is no time for idle chatter. You need to get into the courtroom now. Just remember, as a prosecutor, I will be unable to lend you a hand. So don't expect any help from my court.
There you go, treating me like I'm incompetent again. For your information, I wasn't planning on asking you for help anyway. Just you wait, Simon, I'll show you. Mr. Wright and Apollo may not be here, but that's alright. I can do this on my own.
May 13th, 9:50 a.m. District Court. Courtroom number 4. All rise.
Court is now in session for the trial of Bucky Wet. The defense is ready, Your Honor.
The prosecution is fully prepared, Your Honor.
What's this? No prayer this time, Prosecutor Satmati?
That is correct, Your Honor. To expedite these proceedings, I completed them beforehand in the lobby.
How very thoughtful of you. By the way, what brings you back to this country?
Chief Prosecutor Edgeworth himself called on me to handle this case. Besides, I have a debt to repay, and though my opponent is yet a callow thing, I have no qualms with sending her down to hell.
Objection!
If you have a score to settle, it's with Apollo, not me. But more importantly, I am not a callow thing. I'm a qualified and capable attorney.
Then what is that yellow attire, if not proof of your immaturity, you small spring chick? Now cease your shrill chirping.
Now, Prosecutor Satmati. She is still only a teenager. Please go easy on her. Great. Now even the judge is giving me the kid treatment.
Very well. Shall we begin, Your Honor?
Yes, I suppose we should. Now then, Prosecutor Satmati, please give your opening statement. I'll show them what I can do. They'll be sorry they underestimated me.
Certainly. Let the last rites of the victim commence. The incident is believed to have occurred at around 4 p.m. yesterday, May 12th, at a storyteller's theater called Khura'in. The victim was a great master of the Toneido school of Rakugo, or comedic storytelling. His name was Geiru Toneido. The scene of the murder was the theater's dressing room. It is accessible via the staff entrance hallway and has an inner and outer sliding door. We obtained the backstage diagram. The estimated time of death is between 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. The cause of death is suffocation, though how the victim suffocated is yet to be determined. The autopsy found nothing unusual in his lungs or stomach, and there is no murder weapon. I will now submit the incident report to the court. We gain his autopsy report and the crime scene photo.
Prosecutor Satmati, how can you name Mr. Wet as the culprit when you don't know how the victim was killed, or even with what?
While it is true that the weapon and precise method are as of yet unknown, the accused is the only one who had the opportunity to commit the murder. I will explain this assertion in further detail as we continue.
I guess this means he has some kind of evidence to present.
Now, would the accused care to plead his case?
Come to think of it, where is the defendant, Miss Cykes? Sorry, Your Honor, but I'm afraid Mr. Wet isn't feeling very well and is resting in the infirmary.
Surely it is the lack of a clear conscience that impedes him from facing this court.
Great, starting off on the wrong foot already.
Mr. Wet is the head chef of a soba shop frequented by the victim. On the day of the incident, Mr. Wet went to the theater at the victim's request. Geiru Toneido was a connoisseur of soba, and as you can see in these photographs, He was apparently making soba himself in the dressing room that very day. The soba found at the scene is likely the soba he himself made there.
Liking soba is one thing, but making it in a theater's dressing room is a bit much, non?
Master Toneido truly had a passion for soba, didn't he? For a man like that to be murdered by a soba chef is simply unthinkable.
And yet, the accused had ample motive. For in the victim's safe, we discovered the deed of the accused's shop. Mr. Wet was to inherit Wet's soba when he lost his father recently. However, it's believed the victim stole the shop's deed during the transfer process. The prosecution believes the accused killer the victim in order to get the deed back.
So he killed the victim, huh? A murder over the deed of a shop. That does sound like a plausible motive.
So that's what this case is about. I wish Simon had filled me in a little better. I could have contributed more than just 1,000 buckets of cold sweat if he had.
Defense. From your demeanor, I gather you know very little about the details of this case.
Well, you see...
You are dishonoring the soul of the victim by appearing in the courtroom unprepared. You are an embarrassment to your profession, you putrid egg yolk.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Apollo's a red pepper and now I'm an egg yolk. We've only just started and I've already been demoted from spring chick.
I am ready to call my witness, Your Honor. Let us listen to the words of one who was present when the crime was discovered.
Someone who was there when the victim's body was found?
Very well, witness, please take the stand. It's Simon. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Simon Blackquill, prosecutor.
Prosecutor Blackquill? You didn't tell me you were gonna take the stand.
There simply wasn't time. What a shame, Prosecutor Blackquill. Had you shared the damning scene you witnessed beforehand with the defense, we could have moved this trial along and saved the victim's soul that much faster.
Damning scene? What in the world did Simon see?
Prosecutor Sadmati, was it? Before I give my testimony, there's something I'd like to confirm.
By all means.
This case involves rakugo, a very traditional form of Japanese comedic storytelling. Do you have enough knowledge of this art form to handle the case completely?
Are you implying that I am not qualified for this case?
Not yet. I am simply trying to ascertain your familiarity with the topic. For now.
It is a prosecutor's duty to learn the background of any case he takes on. I did some research on rakugo last night and have grasped the overall idea of it.
How much could you possibly grasp in a single night? Rakugo is a form of entertaining storytelling that originated in the land of Japan. In it, the storyteller sits alone on the stage with only a fan and a towel and the rakugo artist tells long, whimsical stories, giving each character a distinct voice. This traditional art was originally invented by monks to make sermons more interesting. Are you satisfied? If not, I could explain the 12 types of endings to such stories. Or shall I perform the famous story of Jugemu instead? It appears you have put in a bit of study. Your acknowledgement is most welcome, Prosecutor Blackquill. I can see why you are known for being quite thorough in your research, Prosecutor. Now, I would love to see you perform that story you mentioned if you don't mind. If that is your Honor's request. Jugemu. We're not in the mood for that.
Your Honor, can we please get back to the trial?
Oh, right, of course. I nearly forgot.
Seriously? Of all the things for you to forget.
Now then, back to the case. Prosecutor Blackquill, please tell this court what you witnessed. Witness testimony. What Simon saw. I went to the theater yesterday and arrived at approximately 4 p.m. I went straight to Master Tornado's dressing room to say hello. Bucky went into the dressing room thereafter, only to come storming out a while later. Master Tornado's junior disciple, Uendo, apparently then entered the room soon after. That's when Uendo discovered Master Tornado's body.
Now wait just a minute here, Prosecutor Blackquill. With testimony like that, you're practically accusing Mr. Wet of the crime.
All I can do is state what I saw. I can't help how it appears. But a qualified and capable attorney such as you should be able to dispatch with it, right?
Well, yeah, duh. Alright, I guess I better start by getting all the info out of him that I can.
Let's get on with it. I went to the theater yesterday and arrived at approximately 4 p.m.
Prosecutor Blackquill, what did you go to the theater for in the first place?
I went because I had received an invitation from Master Tornado. Here, see for yourself. It was a special show commemorating his junior disciples, Uendo's promotion. It was also an occasion to announce the boy's succession to the stage name of Uendo 2.
So what exactly does it mean to succeed to a stage name?
You really don't know, do you? In the performing arts, a name succession is when an artist inherits a predecessor's name.
I see. So there was another Uendo Rakugo artist before, and this disciple succeeded him, huh? And what exactly did your invitation say?
It contained a simple letter of salutations and an outline of the show's program. Oh, it appears Geiru Toneido is going to perform Toki Soba, or Time Soba. He's famous for his masterful pantomime of eating soba using only his fan as a prop. And Uendo was to perform Soba Se, or Soba Glut, a soba-themed show, I see. It seems you know a thing or two about Rakugo yourself, your baldness. The first to perform was the senior disciple, Geiru, followed by Uendo, and lastly, Master Toneido.
I see. So that's why you happened to be at the Storyteller's Theater yesterday. So what happened after you arrived?
I went straight to Master Tornado's dressing room to say hello.
And how did Master Tornado appear when you said hello to him?
I went with the intention of greeting him, but ultimately we didn't actually meet.
You didn't see him? Why not?
Geiru escorted me to the dressing room, but we heard the sound of Rakugo being performed from within. Thinking the master was rehearsing, we decided to wait in the hall until he was done.
You heard Rakugo being performed in the dressing room?
Yes, not just me, but Geiru as well. In other words, you can confirm that the victim was still alive at around 4 p.m. Correct. I couldn't hear him clearly through the doors, but I'm sure it was Master Tornado. I could tell because it was the time sober routine being performed in there.
So that means the victim was killed sometime after that.
Bucky went into the dressing room thereafter, only to come storming out a while later.
Please tell us in detail how Mr. Wet appeared at the time.
Geiru and I were waiting in the hallway for Master Tornado to finish practicing, when Bucky appeared and entered the dressing room with his things.
What happened after that?
We heard what sounded like Bucky shouting inside the room. About 10 minutes later, Bucky came back out of the dressing room looking rather irate.
This is most likely when the murder was committed. The victim was an elderly man. It would have been entirely possible to kill them within the span of 10 minutes. I'd better come up with some kind of counter-argument and fast!
Master Tornado's junior disciple, Uendo, apparently then entered the room soon after.
What do you mean by apparently? Didn't you see him go in?
No, I couldn't. I wasn't able to see the dressing room door from where I was standing at the time. But Geiru was right in front of it, so I'm sure she saw it all.
I see. And why do you suppose Uendo went to the dressing room anyway?
He had just finished his routine, so he was making a courtesy call. A disciple is to pay their master respect right before and after each performance.
And all disciples are expected to do this?
Yes, it's common courtesy among Rakugo artists.
I see. Could you tell us what happened after Uendo went in the dressing room?
Certainly. That's when Uendo discovered Master Tornado's body.
And how did Uendo act at the time?
After Uendo had been in the dressing room for 2 or 3 minutes, we heard a scream from inside the room, and Uendo came flying out.
Did you hear any signs of a struggle at the time?
No, just Uendo's woeful scream.
I see.
Well done, Prosecutor Blackquill. Your testimony has given us quite a glimpse into the sequence of events.
Thank you, Prosecutor Blackquill. And now, please allow me to summarize your testimony. While Prosecutor Blackquill and Geiru were in the hallway waiting for Master Toneido, the accused came along and entered the dressing room with some items in tow. He was heard shouting for a time inside the dressing room, and about 10 minutes later he came back out of the room, seeming rather angry. A short time after the accused had come and gone, Uendo Toneido went into the room. A few minutes later, after having discovered the victim's body, Uendo gave a scream and came running out of the hallway from within. Prosecutor Blackquill and Geiru then ran into the room and saw the body for themselves. From the circumstances, it is quite clear that the accused murdered the victim.
This is crucial testimony indeed.
Defense, an eyewitness has given conclusive testimony. Why not let it all go now and allow the victim his last rites? Not on your life. If Uendo went into the dressing room too and was the first to discover the body, then who's to say he didn't commit the crime? Uendo was in the dressing room for a mere 2, perhaps 3 minutes. He could not have possibly committed murder in that time, nor without making any noise. Ooh, Simon, why did you have to give that awful testimony? Prosecutor Blackquill, can't you give me something a little better to work with here?
Isn't it up to you to ask the right questions? I am certainly willing to tell you all that I know. So if you truly are as capable as you claim, then draw out what you need yourself.
This is no time for your twisted games, Prosecutor Blackquill. Just think that you don't remember it all that well. Prosecutor Blackquill, watching you collude with a defense like this, I see that you are no prosecutor.
Begone, witness! You shall haunt this sacred hall no more! How dare you treat me like some evil spirit to be exorcised? I'll remember this, you blackguard!
Don't worry, Prosecutor Blackquill. I've got this.
Would I have my way, he would not be the only one here to step down. You half-boiled putrid egg yolk!
Ew! I object to the notion that I'm a gooey, smelling mess.
Prosecutor Blackwill's testimony was like the lowly opening act of a rakugo show. He may hold the title of prosecutor, but this time he stood on the side of the defense.
To restore balance to this trial, I would like to present an actual witness for the prosecution.
And who is this witness?
The person who was with Prosecutor Blackquill when the body was discovered. She is another entertainer of the Toneido School, Miss Geiru Toneido.
And now, we are introduced to her. Please state your name and occupation, witness.
Hello, everyone. I'm here to represent the Toneido School with a twisty twist. And balloon! There you have it. A stunning balloon hat. It's me, the balloon artist you all know and love, Geiru Toneido. Just call me Geiru, sweetie. 1, 2, balloon!
Before I continue, yes, everyone knows this game because of this and this case. If you've seen all the fan art, especially the R34, then you know. What a way to capture your audience's attention. I dare say I can't take my eyes off those balloons.
Please tell me you're talking about the hat, Your Honor. Oh, Mr. Judgy, I'm so glad you liked my performance. Would you consider joining my fan club? Pretty please.
Oh, absolutely.
And please save your fanboying for after the trial, Your Honor. Anyway, Geiru, I can't help but notice you seem awfully cheerful for having just lost your master. Of course I'm sad, but Shisho would scold me if I didn't put on a big smile. Never show sadness. Smile, smile, smile with a twisty twist twist. And balloon! There you have it. One gorgeous cake. I see. I guess an entertainer's gotta do what an entertainer's gotta do. Her balloon art's worse than a Rorschach test. All I saw was a severed monster head. Geiru, you're obviously a balloon artist. So how did you come to be a member of a Rakugo school? Well, my father, my late father, that is, was a Rakugo artist, you see. So I joined the Tornado School to be just like my daddy someday. I see. My father and I owe so much to Shisho, our master, but that Bucky Wet. Ooh, how could he? I want to see him pay for what he's done as quickly as possible.
Your distress is entirely understandable, and my condolences for your loss.
And not only that, but You have more to say about Mr. Wet? Every time he comes to deliver soba to us, he yells at me. He always tells me to get away. Is there any reason why he would say such a thing to you? He says the smell of my perfume will get into his soba and ruin it. Like, how can he say that? This is a great scent.
How very rude of him. I don't blame you for being upset.
Excuse me, Your Honor, but please don't let Geiru's balloons bias your judgment. Mr. Wet hasn't been proven guilty yet, remember?
It will be interesting to see how long that fire of yours will last, Defense. Now then, Geiru, please share the truth with this court. Yes, Geiru, your testimony, please.
Witness testimony. Before the murder was discovered, from 4 p.m. to a little after 4:20 p.m., when Shisho's body was found, Simon and I were standing in the hallway in front of the dressing room. Before Wendo discovered the body, the only person who had gone in there was Bucky. Come to think of it, a little while before Bucky showed up, Yuyama was barking like mad.
Prosecutor Blackquill, do you have any objections to this witness's testimony? No. Make up your bloody mind, sad monk Sadmati. First you exorcise me, now this. You need only do as you are instructed by this humble servant of the Holy Mother. As there are no objections, Your Honor, let us move on to the salvation of the victim's soul.
Hey! I'm a defense attorney here, Prosecutor Sadmati, and I just might have an objection or two once I actually cross-examine the witness. So what are you asking Prosecutor Blackquill for? I'm the one you should be checking with.
There is a passage in the sacred scriptures of Khura'inism. To stir the wind is beyond the power of a spring chick. In other words, the inexperienced are useless. With that in mind, it seemed more judicious to consult Prosecutor Blackquill. He doesn't even see you as an adversary, Cykes, dunno.
Well, I won't let either one of you insult me. I'll show you I'm no inexperienced spring chick. Your Honor, I'm ready to cross-examine the witness.
I hope you can make Prosecutor Sadmati see you as a worthy adversary, Miss Cykes. I'll allow your cross-examination, so you better strike while the iron's hot. This girl was responsible for so much R34 and such, it's just ridiculous.
From 4 p.m. to a little after 4:20, when Shisho's body was found. So the murder must have happened sometime in those 20 minutes, correct? But 20 minutes isn't a lot of time, is it? I don't know. I mean, what do you want me to say? That's what happened, you know. Isn't that right, Simon?
Yes, Geiru and I can both confirm that Master Toneido still lived at around 4 p.m.
Oh yeah, you can, can't you? See? Simon and I were standing in the hallway in front of the dressing room.
Hold it!
The fact that the two of you were there in front of the dressing room means you were able to see everyone who went in and out, right? Of course! Or are you insinuating that I was daydreaming or sleeping while standing up or something? No, of course not. I saw everything, I tell you. Fine. So you say anyway, but did you really? Before Ueno discovered the body, the only person who had gone in there was Bucky.
Hold it!
Only the defendant Ueno entered around the time of the murder? That's right. That's why it must have been Bucky who killed poor Shisho. Let's take a deep breath, okay, Geiru? So not a single other person set foot into the dressing room during that time? I already told you over and over, didn't I? There was nobody else.
I must apologize on the lawyer's behalf. Even her memory is that of a spring chick. Please overlook her transgression as best you can.
Oh, I see. Poor thing. Hang in there, sweetie. Hey, who are you calling a bird brain, buddy? Come to think of it, a little while before Bucky showed up, Yugemu was barking like mad. Yugemu? That's my doggy. I keep him at the theater. Let's see. With a twisty twist. And balloon! There you have it, my cute little Yugemu. He's kind of creepy looking. Oh, but he's a really, really good boy. And why was Yugemu barking? Do you think it's because he saw someone suspicious? If so, then we have a new suspect in this case. Now why was he barking again? Oh, I remember. Because it was time for me to feed him. So I went to his yard and gave him some food. Couldn't somebody have slipped into the dressing room while you were doing that? Nope, the door out in the yard was wide open. I would have seen it if anybody went into the dressing room. Prosecutor Blackquill, come down to the stand for a sec, please.
How many times must I do this?
You saw what Geiru was talking about, right? So why didn't you mention it before?
I can't be expected to remember every minute detail.
Well, remember them now, please. Did Geiru go out into the yard?
Yes, I remember now that she went to feed Yugemu, and I saw her looking towards the dressing room quite frequently as well.
Do you recall anything else?
It looked as though she were feeding the dog a great quantity of dumplings or something. Yugemu couldn't finish them all, so he buried the rest in a corner of the yard. That's about all I can remember.
Simon's statement was updated as a result. It looks like Geiru was telling the truth. Your Honor, I'd like Geiru's last statement added to her testimony.
As you wish, defense.
I was in the yard, but the door was wide open so I could keep watch on the dressing room.
I don't think that's the right statement, you know.
So you were able to keep an eye on the dressing room while you were out in the yard? Is that correct? That's right. The door out in the yard was wide open. Sorry, but that makes zero sense. Take a look at this diagram in the backstage area. There is a clear contradiction between this diagram and the witness's testimony.
Oh? I'm afraid I don't understand, Miss Cykes.
Please point out what contradicts the witness's testimony. Point towards the door and present the area around said door. Let's only hope I am right.
Take that!
Geiru was in the yard near the doghouse. Prosecutor Blackquill even saw her there. And while she was out there, the door of the yard had been left open.
Ah, I see.
Yes, if the door of the yard was wide open, as Geiru said, it would have blocked her view, making it impossible for her to see the dressing room. What? No way!
But even if there were admittedly a few moments Geiru was not keeping watch, how much would that really affect this case?
It would greatly affect the case. From the spot Prosecutor Blackquill stood, he couldn't see the dressing room either. Anyone could have entered the dressing room during that time without being seen. Yikes! Geiru, why did you try to hide the fact that you weren't watching the dressing room? What? I...
Objection!
Hide the fact. You speak as though you think she had something to do with the murder. Rather than deliberate deception, it was more likely a simple oversight. Right, witness?
Well, I was so shocked by what happened. I was just confused, that's all.
Even though she is trying to keep up a brave front as an entertainer, the truth is that she is being torn apart by grief. For her mind to be in turmoil is hardly unexpected. Yes, it must be very difficult indeed. To a disciple, one's master is akin to a real parent. Surely her shock is immense. The way this lawyer tries to pin the blame on this poor soul at the first opportunity. All I can say is, defense attorneys are heartless creatures indeed.
But I wasn't. That wasn't what I was trying to do.
Is it beyond your comprehension, defense? Your unskilled argument is scarring this witness even further. And if we ask the people of this courtroom, I am sure they would agree.
What? The gallery doesn't get a say in this.
Are you afraid to find out that they think ill of you? Or that perhaps you are in the wrong? Listen to them now with that keen sense of hearing you are so proud of.
He's right. That was harsh. She didn't have to go that far. I feel kind of sorry for the witness. And why is the lawyer's outfit so yellow? No, I was just trying to find the truth. Why is the whole gallery siding with Prosecutor Sadmati?
The people understand. They know what is right and what is wrong.
That lawyer's still in training, isn't she? Why is she all by herself? I hear the voices of the gallery. I can hear the voices of their hearts. It's so intense. I feel so alone up here, fighting by myself.
Are you afraid, child? Is it ludicrous to come to trial with such paltry preparation of the soul? I command you to leave this courtroom at once.
But I can't give up. I have to. I have to. Keep pressing on. As long as there was a moment when nobody was watching the dressing room door, the defense can't be convicted solely on Prosecutor Blackquill and Geiru's testimonies.
Even now you would continue to resist? You are childish in defeat as well, I see.
I'm not out for the count yet, Buster. I'm just getting started.
Despite your posturing, is it not true that your resolve could crumble at any moment? With but a little push, you would surely succumb to despair. A little push such as with a piece of conclusive evidence.
Conclusive evidence, huh?
That is correct. We found a critical piece of evidence found at the scene of the crime. The victim's dying message, which clearly implicates the accused Bucky Wet. Look at these Japanese playing cards, known as karuta, lined up on the table. These special English version karuta cards spell out a message. That message, wet number 4.
Wet number 4? You mean wet noodle number 4?
Yes, wet noodle number 4, as the 4th head chef of wet soba is also known. This message points to none other than the accused, Bucky Wet.
No!
That makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
Wow, great job, Mr. Prosecutor. Oh no, this is really, really bad. What do I do? What do I
do? Would you still carry on your futile fight in the face of this irrefutable evidence?
You can say whatever you want, but we won't know until we...
It is cruel to give the accused false hope. You will only compound his suffering. Wise people of the courtroom, do you not agree?
He's right. It's cruel to make him suffer when there's conclusive evidence. What an incompetent noob. I feel bad for the victim and the defendant. What? But I'm trying to prove Mr. Wet's innocence here.
I know you can hear them, defense. Their voices implore you to save the accused's soul. It is time for you to let it go and move on, you inexperienced lawyer. You lack the confidence with which to accomplish anything meaningful here.
Is he right? Is this too much for me to handle on my own? What good is she doing anybody? She should just quit right now.
Now, defense, leave everything to this humble servant of the Holy Mother.
Silence!
He's trying to use your keen sense of hearing against you to manipulate the trial, Athena. What a cheap trick for a supposedly holy man.
Simon!
And you fop noodles in the gallery. Can't a man watch a trial in peace? This inexperienced amateur is about to turn this trial around.
Does that prosecutor really think she can turn things around? The mood in this courtroom is starting to change.
Prosecutor Blackquill, what are you doing at the defense's bench? I grew bored of watching from the gallery. Besides, if I were to leave this trial this spring check and lose my favorite soba shop in the process, I will be quite cross. You voluntarily stand on the side of impurity and sin? Truly what a fool you are. To think you were so easily manipulated by his parlor tricks. Whatever happened to qualified and capable Athena?
I just let my guard down a little bit. But it won't happen again.
Then gird up your loins and steel yourself for battle.
I'm not girding up anything in this skirt. But I am ready to get serious.
It seems there is now yet another soul I must cast down into hell. I was in prison for a long time, and hell sounds no worse than cell, to be honest. Ah, but the fires of hell will not be the end of your suffering. For the sin you have just committed, you shall surely be reborn as a panda in your next life. A white and black reverse panda, that is. And you shall be put in a zoo to be exposed to public ridicule.
A threat like that won't work on Prosecutor Blackquill. After all, he's already used to looking like a panda in this life.
Who are you calling a panda?
Sorry. I see that you are both prepared to face the fires of damnation. Geiru, thank you for your service. You may step down now. Okie dokie. Bye-bye, Balloon. Does everything have to be about balloons with her?
Now then. I have a witness prepared to testify about the Karuta cards.
And who is this witness this time?
The first to discover the body and someone who witnessed the crime scene firsthand. Mr. Geiru Toneido. The time has come for that ponytail pair over there to finally let it all go and move on.
Very well, let's bring in this witness then.